Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back to today's Daf Yomi, which is Megillah Daf Tesvav. We are holding right on top, but it's really a continuation of yesterday, where we had a pasuk with a list of Shmoina Nevi'im, 8 Nevi'im, Neriah, Baruch, Sroya, Machasya, Yirmiyah, Chelkiah, etc. Says the Gemara, Bishlemi Inhu Mefarshi. You see, in that pasuk we have some sons and their fathers. For instance, Yirmiyah ben Chelkiah. So we have Yirmiyah the son, who is a known Navi. We have his father Chelkiah mentioned as well. Bishlemi Inhu Mefarshi. It's clear that these sons were Nevi'im. We have Nevi'us in their name, recorded in the Nevi'im. Ela Avosayu Minolan. What about their fathers? How do we know that their fathers as well were considered Nevi'im? As Ula tells us, Amar Ula, Kol Makom Sheshmai, V'Shem Aviv B'Nevi'us. Whenever we have the pasuk mention a Navi with his father as well, Yirmiyah ben Chelkiah. Why mention his father? It says the Marsha, he's a well-known person, a Navi. Certainly, you don't have to identify him. Yirmiyah ben Chelkiah. There's a message here. The pasuk is telling you, Biyodua. Shu Navi ben Navi. It should be known that he is a Navi as well as his father. So he's a Navi, the son of a Navi. Shmoi v'lo shem aviv. Whenever the name of the Navi is mentioned without his father, Biyodua, let it be known, Shu Navi v'lo ben Navi. Then we know that he is a Navi, but not his father. Whenever we have Shmoi v'Shem Ira Mefurash, the pasuk tells you, this Navi coming from this and this town, Biyodua Shehu Moisa Ir. This indicates that he indeed is a resident of that city. What about Shmoi v'lo shem Ira? His name, but there's no city attached to it. So, where does he live? Biyodua Shehu Yerushalayim. Then, we have an indication that he comes from Yerushalayim. Explains the Marsha, it's the Makom of Ashras HaShechina. Apparently that's where he comes from. And that was conducive for Nevi'us. Bimas Nisatana. The Brisa adds like this. On a similar note, we have many names mentioned in Chazal, mentioned in Tanakh. Kol Shemasav Umas Avosav Stumun. Suppose we have individuals in Tanakh. We're not sure what they're all about. Are they tzaddikim? Are they not? Upart l'cha kosav be'echad mehen l'shvach. And we see that Torah, the pasuk, describes one of them to be l'shvach in a praiseworthy context. Kigoyin dvar Hashem asher oya el Tzefanya ben Kushi ben Gedalia. We have three names: Tzefanya, son of Kushi, son of Gedalia. What are they about? Are they tzaddikim? Are they not? And we know that Tzefanya was a righteous man, he was a tzaddik. Biyadu shu tzaddik ben tzaddik. Then you know that it carried over from generation to generation. Also the pasuk relates him to his father, to his grandfather. They're all on the same track. They're all tzaddikim. So we have many names. He's the son of him, and on one of them we know that he's described to be a tzaddik, then they're all tzaddik. The same way, l'ra, on the other hand, the Torah describes one of them to be l'gnai, in an inferior light. This fellow Yishmael, who actually killed Gedalia ben Achikam. And the pasuk describes him with his father, with his grandfather. What are they all about? Once we know that one of them was a Rasha, Biyodua Shehu Rasha ben Rasha. Pasuk is indicating that it's all in the family. Just as he is a known Rasha, likewise his father, etc. Amar of Nachman, while we're on the topic of names of Nevi'im, who is Malachi? We know about Chagai, Zechariah, Malachi. Who exactly is he? Malachi is a Mordechai. Malachi and Mordechai, it's all one and the same. Why then was he called Malachi if his name is Mordechai? Malachi was the descriptive term. Shehaya Mishnah LaMelech. He was second to the king. Malachi is the lashon of Malchus. Meisvei. Kashmar Bryce. Baruch ben Neriah. Ustroya ben Maaseh. V'Daniel. U'Mordechai Belshon. V'Chagai. Zechariah u'Malachi. All these Nevi'im, Kulan Nisnabu B'Shnas Shtayim L'Daryavish. They all expressed their nevuah at year 2 of Daryavish. That it's time to come back and build a Beis Hamikdash, which has been initiated during the earlier time, the first Daryavish, Koresh, and then was suspended for 18 years. It's time to come back and get to work again. It's clear that Malachi is not Mordechai. Brisa clearly lists Mordechai Bilshon separate from Malachi. Tiyufta, indeed, this is a kasha, a refutation of Rav Nachman's opinion. Tanya, Omer Rabbi Yehuda ben Karcha, Malachi is Ezra. Okay, Malachi is not Mordechai, but he's Ezra. Ezra has Sefer. It's one and the same person. That's the second shita. No, Malachi Shemai. Malachi is Malachi, and that's it. Omer Rav Nachman Mestavro, Kimand Omer Malachi is Ezra. It seems to be that opinion, Malachi is Ezra, is the correct opinion. Why? Because we see that both Malachi and Ezra were involved in the same topic. They were concerned with the same concerns. The Chsid B'Nevius Malachi, we find by Malachi, Bogda Yehuda v'se'eva nesa b'Yisrael b'Yushalayim kichilei Yehuda Kodesh Hashem asher ohev u'ba'al bas el nechar. So the pasuk is criticizing Yisrael for intermarrying. Uman afresh noshen nachriyos. And throughout history, who was involved? Who else was involved in separating the Yisrael from the foreign women? It was Ezra. When he came back to Yisrael and he sees what's going on, the Chsiv Vayan Shechanya Ben Yichel Mibnei Elam Vayimer Ezra Anachnu Ma'alnu B'Lekeinu. We sinned. V'anoishev noshen nachriyos ma'amei aretz. And he went and separated them, terminated their marriage. So the fact that Ezra was involved in this Indian, is indicative of the fact that he and Malachi all one the same person. Because we find by Malachi as well, he was concerned about this issue about intermarriage. There were 4 women who had exceeding yofi. Sarah, Rachav, Abigail, Esther. Esther, Yirak, Rekes, Haisa. But according to that shita, that Esther was called Hadassah because she had that greenish complexion to her. So she didn't have that excessive yefi. So we take her off the list. Mapik Esther, Umayel Vashti. We take off Esther and replace it with Vashti. Ton Rabban. Rachav, this was Rachav Hazaina. Bishma Zinsa, just by mentioning her name, a person gets aroused. Yoel, B'Koila, by hearing her voice. Avigail, B'Zchirasa, recalling her, arouses a person. Michal Basho, B'Riasa, by looking at her. Or Rabbi Yitzchak, in fact, Kala Ima Rachav Miyad Nikri, just mentioning Rachav's name repeatedly brings a person to Tumas Kari. Amalei Rav Nachman, Ano Amina Rachav, V'lo Ichbasli. I say it many times, it doesn't have any effect on me. Amalei. Rabbi Yitzchak responds, Ki Kamina, I meant B'Yodo Makira, one who knows her personally. Then mentioning her name has negative results. The pasuk says, Mordechai Yoda, Eis Kol Asher Nasa. Mordechai found out about the Gzera, and the pasuk continues. Vayetze b'soicheir, vayizak za'ok g'dolu umar. He went out and he cried out and he called out. What was he saying? My Omar. Rav Omar. Gava Haman me'achashverish. Look, Haman rose above Achashverish. Even Achashverish didn't have this in mind. Haman prevailed. He's carrying the day. He's riding high. Look, he made a gzera to kill the Jews, something even Achashverish had no plans on doing. Ushmol Amar, Govar Malka Ilah, the heavenly Malchus in Shemayim, surpassed, overpowered, Mi Malka Tato, the lower Malchus. Rashi says it's a kinoi, it's a euphemism. What he really meant to say is that look, the Malchus down here, Achashverish, is taking the reins, appears to be in control. Esther found out, but she was gripped by some sort of condition about this chalchal. My about this chalchal, what is that? Amarav Shepirsa Nida, she became a Nida due to this frightening experience. She had to tend to her needs. Okay, so she called a messenger over, go out and see what's going on with Mordechai. Why is he so sad? Vatikra Esther Hasach. Who is Hasach? Amarav Hasach said Daniel. It's actually Daniel, who was the sort of chief of staff in the palace for many years. Why then was he called Hasach instead of his real name Daniel? Because he lost his power. They cut off his power, meaning he was lowered, he was downgraded, he was demoted. Mefarshim explained based on the Gemara Baba Basra, because there was an einish that he helped Nebuchadnezzar, gave him advice, not meant to give Andrew advice, and he lost his prestige, he lost his power. Ushmuel Amar, no, he didn't lose his power. Shekol Divrei Malchus, Nechtochen al Piv, all the going-ons in the palace were dictated by him. He was the chief of staff. So she sends a message to Mordechai, Ladas Maziv al Maziv. Amar B'Yitzchak Sholchalei. She relayed to him a message as follows: Shema Avru Yisrael al Chamish Chumshei Torah. Perhaps the Gzera is a result of the fact that Klal Yisrael abandoned the Torah. Tichsiv Bahin. We find by the Torah, by the Luchos, Mizeh or Mizehim Ksuvim, written on both sides. That was the Nes. You can see the letters on all sides. And the Samach and the Mem was hanging, right? So that was Maziv al Maziv. Perhaps they transgressed Avru on the Torah. Ve'agidul Mordechai Estivrei Esther. So Mordechai suggested, she goes into the king and tries to save the day. Esther responds, well, it's not proper, it's not proper procedure. So she hesitated. So they came back to tell Mordechai this message. By Yagidu, they came back. What happened to Daniel, the messenger, who was sent to speak to Esther? Why don't he go back to Mordechai and tell him directly? Daniel himself, who was sent on this mission, he didn't go back to Mordechai to tell him he failed in his mission. We can learn from here. It's inappropriate. She'ein meshivin al kalkala. You're not meant to respond that you failed in your mission. It's degrading to the sender. Look, you sent me to do something, failed. So instead he had somebody else come back to Mordechai and tell him what's going on. Esther responds, go and make a atzeres tefillah. Leich knois es kol Yudim, gather all the Jews, and then I'm going to go into the king, Ashaloi Kedas. So we have a whole pasuk, Ad. It's not a part of the pasuk, it's just, we read all the way to Ashaloi Kedas, meaning it was a message, make a gathering, make a tefillah, and then with that schus, I will go ahead, enter the king's inner chambers, Ashaloi Kedas. What does that mean? What was she trying to say? She was referring to the das of Torah. Omar be'abba. Shaloi kedas. Hoya. Now halacha is going to change on me. Shebechol yom v'yom ad achshav. Every day until today, when I interacted with Achashverosh, it was unwillingly. It was ba'inus. I was forced to do so. V'achshav barotz, now I'm going in willingly. What happens now? Halacha changes. V'chasher avanti. A double loss I'm going to have. Kashem shavati beis abba. Just as I was lost my parents, I was an orphan. Kach oyavad mimcha. I'm going to lose you as well. Why? Because now she becomes usher to live with Mordechai. Once she interacts with Achashverosh, beratz and willingly. Now the truth is, the Marit writes, that it was mutar for to do it. L'hatzolas Yisrael, but when it comes to continuing as married with her husband, that's usher. Once she interacts with somebody else. So she was willing to be Meisa Nefesh, give up her whole life with Mordechai to save Klal Yisrael. Vayav Mordechai. Mordechai passed over. What does that mean? Amarav shehever yom rishon shel Pesach b'tanis. He established a 3-day fast period, starting from Yudalad, Tesvav, and Tezayin. The Gzera went out in Yigimel Nisan. So they fasted on Pesach itself. He passed over Pesach fasting. Ushmol Amar, Vayavar means the Avar, he passed over Arkuma Damaya, a puddle, some sort of body of water, to go gather the Jews, to bring him to daven. Now what's the importance of mentioning this? What's the significance of him jumping over a puddle of water? Says the Manas Halevi, a beautiful word. This was a major event. Gathering together, davening, fasting for 3 days. No, the pasuk mentions the fact that he made that extra effort, jumped over a puddle to put it together, to get it going. Hashem doesn't ignore anything. Every little ishtadlus, every little effort counts and is rewarded. The beautiful story I once heard. The Rebbetzin of the Vilna Gaon, her and a friend used to do this weekly collection for tzedakah. Once they're walking down the street, and the Vilna Gaon's Rebbetzin notices a potential donor ahead, in the distance. She points to her and she says to her friend, "Why don't we approach that person? We'll get some tzedakah for our Inyan." Sure, no problem. So they approached that person, they got some tzedakah, and they continued on their way. When these two women who were friends, who were advanced in age, they struck a deal. Whichever one of them will pass away first will come back to her friend in a dream to describe what's going on in Olam HaEmes. That was their deal. The Vilna Gaon's Rebbetzin passes away first, and she comes back as promised. She visits her friend in a dream. She says as follows: "Look, now that I'm up here, I realized I'm told I can't. You're not allowed to say over. I can't describe to you what's happening in Gan Eden. It's a different realm. It's beyond your understanding. I'm not allowed to discuss it. But I can tell you one thing. Every little thing counts. In fact, you remember that time we were walking down the street, and I picked up my finger to point at a potential donor. We were both collecting together. We both approached that person together. But I was the one who picked up my finger first and pointed out that person in the distance. Remember that story? Well, I want you to know, we both got schar for our mitzvah. But the amount of schar that I received is immeasurably greater, way more than what you will receive, because of that little move, that little effort, picking up that finger. Every masa, every little effort, every little picking up of a finger for the sake of Hashem is accounted for, is recorded and rewarded eternally. So remember that. Every little thing counts. Vayavar, Mordechai, he jumped over a puddle. He got schar for that. Hishtadlus for a mitzvah. Vayibayim HaShlishi. So comes the third day, and Rashi actually brings later, the third day is not the third day of the Tanis, it was the third day since the Gzera. So Gimel Yudalad and Tesvav. It was time for Esther to go make her Hishtadlus. Why the third day? Stasis brings B'schus Torah Nevim Uksuvim Kohanim Levim Yisraelim Moshe V'Aaron and Miriam. Matan Torah was in the third month. So 3 has extra special significance by us. Day 3 was an opportunity. Vatilbasht Esther Malchus. She got dressed with Malchus. Big day Malchus. Pasuk should say royal garb, royal clothing. Why Vatilbash Malchus? Amar Blazar, Amar Chanina, we had this yesterday. Malamid Shalov Shasa Ruach HaKodesh. Ruach HaKodesh rested on her. Vatilbash sometimes refers to a spirit. Ksivacha Vatilbash. We have the word Vatilbash here. Uksav Hasam V'ruach Lovshas Amasai. Amasai was taken by a spirit, so you see Levisha can relate to a spirit. V'amar Balazar, Amar Chanin. Lo'elam al tehi birchas hedyot kalabenecha. How does this come here? Because it's a lesson from the same Anda Amar. Rabbi Yehuda and Chanina. We're going to have a few more coming up soon. He says, look, be careful. Lo'elam al tehi birchas hedyot kalabenecha. If a commoner, a simple person gives you a bracha, don't take it lightly. Sharei, Shnei G'dolei Hadar. There were 2 great people, Beracham Shnei Adiotis, who were blessed by 2 simple people. And those brachas were fulfilled. Don't underestimate the power of a brach. Belohen, who are these 2 people? David HaMelech, with Daniel. David the Barche Arvana. David was trying to stop the Magefa, which was triggered by his counting Yisrael without a medium, without Machzah Shekel, and he quickly went to purchase that plot of land from Arvana, which was the future site for the Beis Hamikdash. And Arvana gave him a bracha. You should be successful. The Chsiv, Vayemer Arvana al Melech, tells him that Hashem should listen to you and you should be successful. And indeed, that's what happened. The Magefa stopped. By Daniel, we have the Baruch Daryavish. Daryavish took a liking to him, and he gave him a bracha. He should be safe from the lions. That's what happened. The Chsiv, Allahachti ant plachle b'tadira. Your God that you pray to on a regular basis, he should save you, and he was saved. On the flip side, v'amar b'lazar amar b'chanina al ti kilas hedid kalabeinecha. A klala, of course, even from a common person, from a simple man, a hedid is not to be taken lightly. How do we know? Sharei avi melech kilal Sarah. Avimelech was all upset that Sarah concealed her identity, and they gave her a klala. Hine hulach ksusei naim, because you concealed your identity. You didn't tell me you were a married woman. You should have ksusei naim, blindness. V'niskayim bazar. And indeed, it was applied to her children. Vayikizok in Yitzchak. Hateichena einav. When Yitzchak was advanced in age, he had a hard time seeing, so the klala was niskayim. V'amar b'laz, amar b'chanina. Boyrei, come take a look. Shloi k'midas HaKadosh Baruch Hu midas basar v'dam. Hashem's modus operandi is so different than the way we conduct ourselves. Midas basar v'dam, by human being, we have Adam Shefes Keter. First you position the pot, and only afterwards you fill it up. Aval Kadosh Baruch Hu, by Hashem, it's in the reverse. Noisan Mayim, first he adds the water, and then the pot. L'kayim b'shemayim, as the pasuk says, l'koil titay haman mayim b'shemayim. First Hashem positions the water in Shemayim, and then he gets the clouds to contain the water. Perhaps the point is that by Hashem, He's the mashpia. He gives the content, the bracha, but in order for us to receive it, we have to have the kli, the vessel, so that we can relate to it. Right? So Hashem is the source of all bracha. The flow comes from Him. Here comes the mayim, unlimited, unhindered. But in order for us to appreciate and to receive it on our level, we need a kli, we need a vessel to sort of contain the bracha, to spoon feed it to us on our level. So first comes the water and then the kli. V'amar b'lazar, amar b'chanina. Kol ha'ima davar b'shem oimrei. If one is careful to give credit when credit's due, he says over something important, a dvar Torah, something that has significance, and he relates it back to its source. I heard it from so and so. He's oima davar b'shem oimrei, maybe gula la'ilam. He brings about geula. How do we know? Shnamar v'atomer esel ha'malach b'shem Mordechai. When she conveyed that information about Bixam Viserish's plot against Achashverosh, she related it back to Mordechai. She gave him the credit. And look what happened. We had geula. And Farshim explained, specifically when it comes to Torah, every person has his chelik in Torah. In fact, the Medrash says, Kol Masha Talmud Vasik Asad Lachadish was already given to Moshe Rabbeinu b'Sinai. But we have to discover our chelik in Torah. That's why we find so many names in Shas. A big percentage of the Gemara involves itself with names. Lots of names, because it's your chelik in Torah. It's your neshama. When a person discovers his chelik in Torah and conveys it to others, and they relate it back to him, it's attributed to its owner, to its source. By doing so, it's not just the Torah that's being learned, it's related to its source, and it's your personal chelik in Torah that gets conveyed and related and publicized. So that's the point of connecting to the source. And ultimately, when everybody's chelik in Torah gets revealed and discovered, the gula comes about. So maybe gula la'ilam. Chaim Kanievsky writes that it's when it's something important, something that has chashivas. It's not every little fact that you happen to hear from somebody you have to relate to him. Something that has chashivas, like Torah, like Dvar Chachma. Well, in this case, as we find, to give credit to Mordechai for discovering the plot that Chesed with Achashverosh. This is another point that the Taz actually brings. It's rooted in anava, humility. Don't take credit for yourself. If it's somebody else's, give him the credit. So this would perhaps relate to the Stipler, Chaim Kanievsky's father, he once gave a shir and he quoted a Birkei Yosef, and then he was in distress afterwards. And he got up again. He says, "By the way, it's not like I knew all the Birkei Yosefs. I happened to find it in a Gilead Ashat. Rekiv Eger brings it." So over there, it didn't seem like it was a question of B'Shem Omer. He was quoting a Birkei Yosef. He was attributing it to the source. He was giving credit to the Makar, but it could have been understood that he was fluent. He was Baki in all the Birkei Yosef. He wanted to dispel that impression. So he says, I saw it in that sefer. Rekiv Eger brings it down. So that's a whole different concept of just not taking credit, not being a Balgava. That's also something that's praiseworthy. Another lesson from the same Madam. Tzaddik Avad, when the Tzaddik passes away, the Dori Avad, the generation suffers. He's okay, he's in Gan Eden. But we are the ones that experience the loss. Mashal, it's a mashal la'adam she'avdalei margolis. A person loses a precious stone. It doesn't affect the stone. Kamakim shehi, wherever that stone happens to be present, margolis shma, it's still the same margolis, retains its value. Lo'yavda elabala, who experiences loss? Its owner. V'chol ze inenu sheveli. Mordechai sees Haman doesn't bow to him. Haman gets all enraged. He says, if so, I have nothing. Chol ze inenu sheveli. All this power, all this fame and fortune is not worth anything. Amar Belazar, Amar Chanina. Why is he expressing himself in that extreme way? You know why? There was good reason. B'shah shara Haman as Mordechai yeshev b'shar melech. Amar kol ze einu shaveli. When he sees Mordechai standing there, he says, you know what? I have nothing. Why? Rashi says, buli is lashon eisher, wealth. Mordechai had a claim of wealth over Haman. We'll see in a minute what this means. V'zeh as opposed to Haman, who came along with his claim, proves buti. Buti is lashon of oini. So Haman was an ani compared to Mordechai. It didn't appear so, but in reality, Mordechai was Haman's master, who was a slave to Mordechai. Amar Papa v'korle Avda, they would call Haman a slave, the Mizdaven, who sold himself Batali for exchange for loaves of bread. So the Nalkut Shemaini explains the background to this Gemara. It so happens that Achashverosh, at some point in time, gave some funds to Mordechai and Haman, who were battalion heads in his army. He told them, take your battalions and go conquer the city. And each one had funds to pay his soldiers. Of course, Haman squandered his money. At the end of the day, he had nothing to pay his soldiers. He came running to Mordechai. He says, could you lend me some money? Could you give me something for my soldiers? Sure, says Mordechai. Sell me yourself as a slave. And he agreed. He sold himself as a slave to Mordechai in exchange for the bread, for the food to feed his army. So in reality, Haman was merely an eved to Mordechai. So whenever Haman sees Mordechai, he felt inferior. He says, nothing, I have nothing. Because I'm an eved. Halacha is that whatever the eved acquires belongs to the master. All this is worth nothing. What is the word zeh referring to? All his wealth and his fortunes engraved on his heart. First, explained that he had a precious stone hanging over his heart, on which we had some description of his wealth, and he was pointing to that. All this is worth nothing. When he would notice Mordechai, Omar he'd say, another lesson from the same Adamar. In the future, Hashem will be Hashem will form a crown on the head of a tzaddik. He will rest his shechina on the tzaddik. Shenamar b'yemahu Yi Hashem tzvokes lateres tzvi. My lateres tzvi uletzviras tifara. So the pasuk reads as follows: B'yemahu, Here, Hashem Tzvakas, Lateres Tzvi, Letzviras Tifara, Lishar Amai, and the next pasuk is Uluruach Mishpat, Layeshev Ala Mishpat, Viligvura Mishivei Milchama Shara, followed by the next pasuk, V'gam Ele Vayayin Shagu, Ubashechar To, Kayin V'navu Shagu Bashechar, Nivilu Min Hayayin To, Min Hashechar Shagu, Broya Po Paku Pelilia. The Gemara will go through these psukim, that's why I just ran through it quickly. So we start with Hashem presenting as a Torah, as a crown, resting his Shechina on who? On the tzaddikim. Lateres tzvi, v'letzviras tifara, l'shar amei. Explains the Gemara. What is my lateres tzvi, l'tzviras tifara? Only to the tzaddikim. La'osin tzivyon, those who fulfill Hashem's tzivyon, his will. U'lemetzapen tefarata, anticipate Hashem's beauty and Hashem's Shechina. Perhaps this applies to everybody, any tzaddik who engaged in positive behavior. No, we need another quality to deserve this hashras hashchina, which means she'eris, remnants, leftovers. Only those who are humble, who are nava, will appreciate it, will experience this. Somebody doesn't consider himself valuable; he's just a remnant, just a leftover. So anova is a prerequisite, precondition for hashras hashchina. The next pasuk, ulurach mishpat. We'll go through word by word. Who's going to be deserving of this schar? This is Hadanas Yitzra. He's involved in judging, in forcing his Yetzirah to come and do tshuva. Pasuk says, "Ulu yeshev ala mishpat." Who's that? Zehadon din emes lamite. One who's engaged in proper mishpat, a dayan who conducts his dinei Torah with integrity. Tesis points out, emes lamite means with the truth of really truth, which means beyond the superficial truth. You can have Adam that perhaps you can, if you really have experience and expertise, you can see right through it. Sure, they're testifying and everything looks good, but you see it's a din meruma, says Tesis. It's a setup. Dayan has to look beyond the surface. That's done din emes la'amita and come up with the truth. The pasuk continues, v'legvura. Who's that? Zeh mizgaver al Yisrael, who overpowers his Yetzirah. Pasuk says, Meshivim l'chama shara. What does that mean? Shenoisin v'noisnin v'machamta shel Torah. Those who are engaged in the debating of Torah. The pasuk says, shara. Who's that? Ilu tamid chachamim shemashkimin u'marivin bebatim hasiyos u'bebatim midrashis. Shara. Those who open and close those gates, they're there early, they stay late in the Beis HaMedrash, Beis HaKnesses. So these will be zeicha to the immense schar, the Torah of Hashem. Amra midas hadin f'nei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So the midas hadin complains to Hashem. Why only the Jews? Manishtanu elu me'elu. Manishtanu. Why are the Jews different than the Goyim? There's some fine, upstanding Goyim who have fine character traits. Why is this schar only given to the Yidden? Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yisrael asku b'Torah, umas oilam lo asku b'Torah. Difference is Torah. We are engaged in Torah. Goyim are not. And even if you find fine Goyim, it's not the same than Yisrael, whose fine character traits are spiritual in essence. It's based on the Torah value. And therefore they're truly deserving of schar. Amar lei. So Misa then responded, Gam elu b'yayin shoga. If so, if it's dependent on limud Torah, I understand why, even amongst Yisrael, unfortunately, there are those who are not engaged in Torah. They ignore Torah. Instead, they're busy with wine. Gam elu b'yayin shoga b'shechar to, and indeed, they won't be deserving of the schar. They will have to go to Gehenna for a cleansing process. Poku pelilia. So poku means they'll have a downfall, pelilia, as a result of this judgment against them. Ain't poku al Gehinnom. Poku is referring to Gehenna. Shenam alesia zois l'chole fuka. We had this yesterday. So don't allow this to be your downfall, the reason for einish in Gehenna. So poku is referring to the einish of Gehenna. And the word plilia, vein plilia al dayanim, referring to dayanim, v'shnei avanosim b'flilim, judgment. They will be judged to experience. They have to go through the Gehenna process. Okay, back to the Megillah. V'atamoid b'chatzar beis hamelach hapnimis. Esther positions herself in the inner chambers of King Achashverosh. Amr Levi, Kivan Shegil Beis HaSlamim. Once she got to the inner Chatzar, which was the Beis HaSlamim, he's up at the Zara headquarters. And his stalko, him and a Shechina, she loses the Shechina. Amra, she calls out in agony, Eli, Eli, Lama Zaftani, Hashem, why did you abandon me? What did I do wrong? Shema Tadan al Shegik Kimezid. Are you going to consider the fact that I entered the Beis of the Zara B'Shegik? Unwillingly, unknowingly. I'm just compelled to do it. You're treating it like a mazid? Like deliberate? Well, in this kirotzen, the fact that I have to, unfortunately, engage Achashverosh now as married b'ba'inus, but it's ba'inus. It's not something which I'm happy with. I'm doing it to save Klal Yisrael. You're treating it like a ratzon, like it was done willingly. Interesting. Marik points out, we have a stira. Here we call it einus. And just a couple of minutes ago, Esther says, I lost you, Mordechai. I'm going to lose you. Because going forward, I'm going to be engaged with Achashverosh b'ratzon. That makes me lose my husband. So is it ratzon or is it einus? Says the Marik, a wonderful pshat. He says there are two aspects to this. And mitzad Esther, of course it was mutter. It was a mitzvah to save Klal Yisrael. She has to do anything. Even to engage Achashverosh b'ratzon. It was mutter. It's not considered navir. That's as far as she's concerned, as far as her personal masa. But as far as her husband, it's considered straying. Pasuk says, Isha kisimol mal, she strays from her husband. That's considered having strayed. Unless it was truly, factually, circumstantially, be'oinus, against her will, mamish. Otherwise, she would be usher on her husband. So over there we're speaking from the marriage, Mordechai's perspective. It's considered ratzon, which makes her usher. Here we're speaking mitzad Esther Malka's perspective. Mitzad the Isser Beheter. In that context, of course it's mutter. So why is it that you abandoned me, Hashem? Because I'm engaged in these things? Or perhaps Shemal Shakaras of Kel, because I refer to him like a dog, which is inappropriate. The fact is, a king, any king, even a non-Jewish king, is appointed by Hashem. I shouldn't refer to him with this degrading title like a Kelev. Shnamar Hatzila Mecherev Nafshi. This is in Kapitel 22. Hatzila Mecherev Nafshi. Yad Kelev B'chidasi. Save me from the Kelev. Okay, Choshev Kurasai Ari. She renamed him a lion. Shnamar Hershieinu Pi Ari. So what happened next? Vahi Kirois HaMelech es Esther HaMalka. When Achashverosh notices Esther, Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Gimel Malach Asher's Nizdamnala, Bois Shah. 3 Malachim came to help her. Echad Sheik Be'as Sabar, one lifted her neck so that he sees her. Ve'echad Shemashach Chut Shel Chesed Aleh, the other one applied Chut Shel Chesed. She should find favor in his eyes. Ve'echad Shematach At Sharvid. The third Malach came and sort of extended the scepter so that it reaches Esther. V'kama. How much was it extended? Amar B'Yirmiyah Shtei Amas Haya. Initially it was merely 2 amas long. Ve'emidoi Al Shtei Mesrei. And the Malach came and extended it to 12. Ba'amila Al Shesh Esrei up to 16. Ba'amila Al Esrim Ba'arba to 24. Masin Satan on the Brisa we have Al Shishim. Turned her to a 60 amma long scepter. V'cheina Tamoitzi Ba'amasa Shabas Para. Same concept of extension. By Nes we find by the arm of Basya, Bas Pare. She notices Moshe floating in the water beyond her reach. She doesn't hesitate. Picks up her hands, reaches out, and Hashem made her nes. She was able to reach Moshe's cradle. The Bali Musa point out. Big chizuk to a person. Sometimes things appear beyond our reach, and they really are. A person must do what he can do. Make that effort. Take that step. Hashem can extend your arm. What you think is really beyond your reach can really be within your grip. This concept of extension we find by the teeth of Rishayim. He broke the teeth of the Rishayim. But Rish Lakish, instead of shibarta, you broke. You extended. Rashi brings, go on, brachis. lifted a big mountain in order to throw it on Klal Yisrael and kill them. Hashem had a nace. Well, ants came along, bore a hole right through the middle of the mountain, and it sunk down through his head on his shoulders. He tried to lift it, to get it off his shoulders. Suddenly his teeth grew out and protruded into the mountain, and he couldn't get it out. It was stuck now. And that's how he met his end. Rabbi Bar Ufran, Omar Mishum Belezer, quoted Rabbi Lezer, Sheshama mi Rabbi, heard from his Rebbe, V'Rabbi mi Rabbi, his Rebbe from his, Masayim. The Sharbat, the scepter, became 200 amas long. Vayimel HaMelech le'Esther HaMalka, Ma bakashosech, ad chatzi HaMalchus v'teos. Esther Hashverosh offers her, ad chatzi HaMalchus, what do you want? I'll fill any bakasha until half of the Malchus. What does this mean? Chatzi HaMalchus, I call HaMalchus, half, not the whole. What does he mean? He meant v'loy davar shechoitzis l'malchus. I can give you everything, except for one thing, the Beis HaMikdash, which is choitzis, which cuts the malchus in half. Rashi says, binyan habayis, Beis HaMikdash, which is be'emtza shel olam, right in the middle of the world, center of the world. Gemara Yuma says, Evan Shasiya was the first point of creation, from which everything else extended. So that's what he meant. I can give you everything except for re-establishing the Mikdash, which will be a competing entity with my Malchus. Umay niu binyan Beis HaMikdash. She says to Achashverosh, no problem. I'm not going to pressure you on that. I just want one thing. Yovei HaMelech v'Haman al Mishta. I'll make a party for you and Haman. Tanu Rabbanan. Ma rasa Esther shezimna es Haman. Famous question. Why in the world would Esther invite Haman to the Mishta? We have many reasons. Pachem tamnalei. Pachem is like a stumbling block, a pit, a potential downfall. So she presented him with a potential downfall. Shenemar yihi shulchanam lifneim lepach. The Russia's table, his meal, creates for him a pitfall. So she wanted to bring him in. Perhaps somehow he'll slip, he'll trip, and he'll trip up, he'll do something inappropriate, and she'll be able to get him. Rabbi Shoimer Beis Avi Lamda is because of something she learned back home. She used to hear the kids saying the pasuk, Shneimar Imroiv Sanacha, Hachileu Lechem. When your enemy is hungry, give him to eat. Buy him off. Bring him to the meal. Get him on your side. Rabbi Omer, the reason was Kadesh Layitel Eitzav Yimreit. If she leaves Haman out of the loop, perhaps he'll threaten. He'll seek advice. He'll make a coup against Achashverosh. So bring him in, get him involved, get him on your side. Rabbi Yehuda Omer Kadei Shleikir Bashu Yehudis. She did it to conceal her identity. She invited Achashverosh and Haman, so nobody entertains the thought that she's Jewish. Rabbi Chemya Omer, the reason why she invited Haman, she courted Haman, was Kadei Shelo Yomer Yisrael. Yisrael shouldn't say, going forward, they should no longer say, Achois Yesh Lanu Beis HaMelech. Look, we're safe and secure. We have a sister, one of ours, in the palace, taking care of us, looking after us. Yosichu Datam and Arachmim, which will hinder their motivation from asking Rachmim, from davening to Hashem. They'll no longer feel that desperation to daven to Hashem. Therefore, she invited Haman. Look, things aren't so safe and secure. Go ahead and turn to Hashem directly. A beautiful story I once heard from Shimshon Pinkus, who had somebody who begged him. He came to him for a bracha. He said, look, I'm married many years, no kids. What can you do for me? Give me a bracha, daven for me. Rabbi Pinkus says, come. Took him into his car. He lived in Ofakim. Drove him to some desolate place near a forest and says, look, it's the middle of the night. I want you to get out of the car. I'm coming back in an hour. You stand there and you daven to Hashem with your whole heart. I'm coming back in an hour. This fellow didn't know what to do. Gets out of the car. Rabbi Pinchas drives off. And this man, did he start davening? There was nobody there. Just him and Hashem. And he's yelling. He's crying, Hashem. I'm lonely. I need a kid. Crying like he never cried before, davened with such intensity and such such a genuine, heartfelt tefillah, totally dependent on Hashem, just him and Hashem. Sure enough, he sees headlights pulling up, an hour's up, goes back to the car. Rabbi Pinchas says, "No, how's the davening?" He says, "Gevaldik." He davened to Hashem, and he's hoping for some good news. Sure enough, that year he had a baby. So Rav Shimshon Pinchas explains, it wasn't a nes, it wasn't a meifis. This man never davened. He never davened. He dropped him off on the side of the road. He says, "Go ahead. It's just you and Hashem." And when a person really, really davens, from the depths of his heart, really, really thinking that Hashem and only Hashem can help him, he can see a Yeshua. Esther wanted to facilitate that type of tefillah. She made things look insecure. Not really so much on your side. You don't have pull in the king's palace. Turn to Hashem, which indeed achieved results. Rabbi Yossi Omer, the reason why she invited Haman, kedei shehei motzelo b'chaleis, so that she should be next to him, so that Haman should be around, and perhaps she can do something to get him in trouble. As she says, ulai tucha lachshile b'shem dorah fnei hamelech, somehow she can trip him and get him punished right there. Maybe Hashem will see, look to what extent, look what I have to be mavaza myself, I have to be mezazel, invite Haman. Hashem will have rachmanas and do a nes. Rabbi Shimon Karcho Eimer, az b'lei panim. Let me be nice to Haman in front of Achashverosh, which will arouse his jealousy, and maybe he'll kill me and Haman. That's the best thing. Kadesh Yehareg Huvihi. Both Haman and Esther will be killed, and Rashi explains based on the Gemara and Tanis. They had some sort of rule, the Goyim, that if one of theirs dies, one of the ruling group dies, after they make a gzera, they're concerned that perhaps it's a bad simon, they would be mavatal the gzera. So if Haman and Esther die, perhaps that will be the catalyst for bitul hagzera. Melech hafach pachanhaya. This Achashverosh fellow was a wishy-washy, inconsistent fellow. Hafhachan, turning from side to side, constantly changing his mood. And she figured, look, if I can get him to get upset at Haman, I want him to be right there so he can kill him right then before he changes his mind. She had many reasons. Amar Rabbi Gamliel, Adayin, if to all these reasons, we still need another reason. Adayin tzrichen anu l'maydoi. We need to Rabbi Lezer Maydoi's pshat, which according to Rabbi Gamliel was a good pshat. The Sandia Rabbi Lezer Maydoi Omer kin asay b'melech, kin asay b'sar. The reason why she courted Haman, she gave him covet to arouse kin, a jealousy. Achashverosh will not be jealous. Look, Haman is being honored by my own wife. Kin asay b'sarim, she aroused kin and jealousy amongst the other ministers against Haman, and perhaps this will lead to his demise. Rabba Amar, the reason is as follows: L'fnei shever, before Hashem breaks the guy, gives the einish to the Rasha guy, and he lifts him, so that it should be more of a drastic fall. So first we give him honor, we invite him, elevate him, and then it facilitates his downfall. Abai V'Ramad Avitavai, they both explain as follows: B'chumim ashes as mishteyim. This is a pasuk by Balshazzar. I arrange their mishta when it's very hot, which makes them thirsty, and as a result they drink lots of wine, which actually happened there by Belshazzar. They drank so much wine and they got drunk, and eventually they were punished. So here as well, she brings them to the party. We see that the mishta of the Rishon brings them piranhas. Ashkeche Rabba bar Avo Elyo. So Rabba Avo meets Elyo Navi. Amarle, he asks him as follows: look, we have so many reasons. Which one is the real one? You know the real one. Keman Chazia Esther. Which opinion, which reason was really going through Esther's mind, Va'avdahachi, when she invited Haman? Which is the real one? Amarle, Elyo responds, they're all right. Kekulu Tanoi, Kekulu Amoroi. Everybody's right. She had all these reasons, all the Tanoim's reasons, all the Amoraim's reasons. Haman came home when Achashverosh gave him that initial covered, and he told him all about it. Haman, Eskvoid Ashroi, Verev Bonav, told him about his wealth, about many all his children. V'kama Reiv Banav, how many children did he have? Amarav Lamed, total of 30. Asar Meis, so 10 died naturally. Vasar Nitlu, 10 were hung. Vasar Mechazon al Psachim, 10 of them were so poor they had to go around collecting. V'Rabban Amri, Oyser Shemechazon al Psachim Shivim Havi, 7 they had to go collecting. Chsiv Sveim Belechem Nishkoru. Altikri Sveim, instead of the word Sveim, satiated, El Shivim, he had 70. He had to go collecting for bread. V'Rami bar Abba Amar, Kulan Masai Mishmona Havu. He had a total of 208. Shnema V'Roiv Banav, that's the Gematria. V'Roiv, what do you mean? The Gematria, Mosan V'Arbesa Havu. V'Roiv is actually 214, not 208. Amar Nachmar Yitzchak, V'Roiv Ksiv, without the Vav. So V'Roiv without a Vav is Vav, Reish Vav, Vez, which is 208. Okay, let's do a quick Chazara. We started with the Nevi'im. Whenever we have the Navi and his father mentioned as well, that's an indication that they were both Nevi'im. If we have his city mentioned, he came from there. Otherwise, he's from Yerushalayim. Who is Malachi? One pshat says he's Mordechai. Other pshat says Ezra. Other pshat says Malachi is just Malachi. We learned about the Mesiras Nefesh of Esther. We learned about the value of a brach or conversely a klal, even coming from an hedyot. Haman was an eved of Mordechai. Klal Yisrael's Schar L'Asad Love is based on their being Osek B'Torah. We learned about the 3 Malachim who accompanied Esther, one of them stretching that scepter so she could reach it. And we learned the many reasons for inviting Haman to the meal, which were all confirmed by Eliyahu Navi. Maybe all be zeicha to B'suras Tevis amongst ourselves and Klal Yisrael. Meher v'Yemei Nami.